Good morning.
Oh, hey.
O'clock.
10:01, Mrs. Chairman, Chairwoman.
No, it says 10.
Oh, okay.
Good morning, Supervisor Simpson. I'd like to
She's right on
call,
time.
call the meeting of Personnel and Higher Education to order. I could have a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting, please. Supervisor Simpson, seconded by Supervisor Frazier. Moving right on, oh, we have to vote on that. Excuse me. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. At this point, I'd like to open up the floor, and are there any members of the public that would like to be heard prior to starting our committee meeting? Seeing none, we'll move on to our action agenda.
He's not here yet.
We'll come back to the SUNY Adirondack Higher Education update when Larry arrives. So moving on to number 2, items to be discussed by the Human Resource Director. Jackie, would you like me to turn it over to you? Just briefly hit on these items.
Okay. The report for vacancies filled was attached. If you have any questions, as usual, please let me know. There was one item in Board of Elections that I spoke to Bill Van and he had an error on his intent to fill form. So it resulted in it looking like he filled the position a couple $100 higher than what was approved. So he filled it at what the incumbent was at. So he said it was just an error when he was filling out the intent to fill form. He never did it amended the table of organization to lower the salary or anything. So I just wanted to point that out that it was a typo on the form, but I carried it through on the tracking just for consistency's sake. The second item is the reallocation committee. Under the CSEA agreement, the county has a reallocation committee. We've been contacted by CSEA to begin that process for this year. And I don't think, Amanda, we have any current members. I was temporarily appointed pending the filling of the HR director, so I think there's nobody currently appointed, so we need to take care of that. Appointing 3 members, maybe 3 before, do you think, Brian?
Chair, the contract calls for 3 from CSEA and 3 appointed by the board. However, if we want to have 4, we could reach out to the union. If we agreed, we could each have 4.
We had discussed it a little bit, the ones that did negotiations, we think, myself, Brian, and Jackie should at least be on the committee because we're familiar with what they're talking about. And I don't know if we had somebody else in mind.
Trish.
Or it was...
Oh, Trish. We need Trish because of all the civil service rules that they'll bring up.
So are you looking for an action on that?
Yeah,
for an
for the
appointment?
4, and if anybody else, but I think it'd be Jackie, Trish, myself, and Brian.
I see everyone else's hands going up. Be part of that. So would you like, am I looking then for a motion
Yeah,
on the floor made by Supervisor Frazier, seconded by Supervisor Simpson to appoint our HR director, our personnel director, our county attorney, and our acting county administrator? Is that correct, Jackie? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll stay for voting for myself.
Abstained? Supervisor Garrity? That carries. Thank you. And do you want to touch, Jackie, on 2C, discussion pertaining to retiree benefit contribution increase?
Sure. The CSEA contract negotiated increased benefit contribution, and the out-of-unit policies for active employees have been changed to increase all of the CSEA. Both of those sets of policies specify that the retirees will see an increase when those groups see an increase, so we need a separate motion, separate resolution to increase the retirees for administrative sake. And upon consulting with Brian, we are suggesting to make everyone effective July 1, so we have a proper notice period to let people know that their contribution is going to be going up before we actually raise it. So we would need a resolution to increase out-of-unit and CSEA retiree benefit contributions as per those
Okay, so let's see if we can get a motion to get it on the floor, and then if there's any discussion made by Supervisor Simpson, seconded by Supervisor Frazier. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to Personnel Officer, Trish, you're just reporting your conference. Anything you want to add to it, or?
Next week is a great conference, I believe, under the policy we just
Yep.
report to the committee after the approvals, and we have our signatures.
That's correct. Remember, our policy has changed on that, so that does give us the FYI. Anything else? Okay. Moving on to number 3, referrals from the Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee. Under the Public Defender, there was a request to amend the table of organization and salary schedule to create the position of the 8th Assistant Public Defender at an annual salary of $47,500 effective August 1st. Can I have a motion to put that on the floor? Made by Supervisor Brock, seconded by Supervisor Leggett. Is there any discussion regarding this? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. 3B is a request to amend the table of organization and salary schedule to create the position of a temporary confidential secretary to the First Assistant Public Defender at the annual salary of $34,500 effective August 1st for training purposes. This was discussed during we had a previous executive session, but there was no action taken in terms of this, so we do need a resolution to create this. Is there a motion to put that on the floor? Supervisor Brock, seconded by Supervisor Simpson. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to our county administrator to talk a little bit about amending the workplace violence prevention plan and program.
Well, it's usually once a year we have to look at it and make any changes. I don't think there's any changes to it. It's extensive. Was there any?
There are some,
They're on, what, page 1?
yeah, there's a title page, and then there's a couple changes in there.
Page
Page 2.
Page 2.
Yep. And we're also going to change the emergency response plan to change the hide portion to run, hide, fight, depending on the circumstances, and that may be reflected in here as well.
That was after, and then we also had some discussion about congregating when you have a bomb scare. You know, right now we congregate. That may change in the future, where we may disperse a little bit more. Other than that, and just so you know, each year we do sit and we talk about any workplace violence reports that come in. We review them, and they're handled on a daily basis.
Are you making a motion to put that on the floor, then
No.
we'll have
Yeah.
discussion? So that motion is made by Supervisor Brock, seconded by Supervisor Simpson. Discussion, Supervisor Brock.
Yeah, a number of years ago, after the shooting at Columbine, the state came up to schools and they offered advice on different things you can do to sort of mitigate any kind of problems, you know, little things that you might not even think about. You might want to talk to them to just sort of review it, because they have people that would, I mean, there were some things they were talking about that you never would have thought of if they came up, so you might want to...
Yeah, the police and Needham, our safety people all the time, are making suggestions to do this, and we do have. And I do know that was one thing that was mentioned after the bomb scare here, that, you know, the procedures were to congregate and take a census, but now I think it's more, once you're outside, is to disperse more,
Right.
just in case there's somebody out there waiting for you. But thanks, Jim.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. I just want to jump back up briefly to our SUNY Adirondack and higher education. On item 1B, there is a request to appoint Patricia Petropalo and Kathleen Grassmeter to the SUNY Adirondack Board of Trustees for a term commencing July 1 and terminating July 30th, well, that's a long term, 2024. And so I'm looking for a motion to put that on the floor, please. Supervisor Leggett, seconded by Supervisor Simpson. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. I'll also remind you that tomorrow we do have our joint meeting for SUNY Adirondack, over, I believe it's at the rec hall, in the new building, Amanda, right? But we'll send out a reminder notice, at any rate, regarding that. But that is tomorrow with Finance with Washington County to discuss the budget. Supervisor Sokol?
Thank you, Chairwoman. I do have copies of the campus that's
Oh,
out, so I was going to go out there in finance, but we're building C.
Building C.
It's just the north.
Okay. So Supervisor Sokol will make sure we all get there tomorrow. Supervisor Simpson?
Thank you, Mr. Sokol. I drove around quite a bit looking for the right place to be last year.
This is what
So,
I do.
I appreciate it. You're doing your job.
Was that your comment?
That was my comment.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Thank
I
you.
was lost.
But we would ask that, it's, been brought to our attention that that budget was released in the paper. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to take a look at the budget. Please come prepared with any questions, to have any discussions that you might have, so we can voice it there with Washington County as well and have a complete overview of the budget at that time. Before we go into an executive session, I'm told one is needed to discuss collective bargaining with the Faculty Association. Are there any other pending items to come before personnel or higher education this month?
We're going to do 6.
What did I miss? Oh, there's the vacancies approved for filling by the Oversight Committee? That's just FYI, right? So just to call your attention to the Office for Aging, Public Defender, Real Property, and Social Services, and those positions that had been filled and the reasons why, at the end of your sheet. Is there anything else to come before from committee members? Is there anyone in the public or any other supervisors that have any concerns or questions? Okay, hearing none, at this point in time, we need a motion on the floor to go into executive session.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
For collective bargaining negotiations regarding the Faculty Association and to discuss collective bargaining or potential litigation with other collective bargaining organizations, so 2 subjects.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. A motion is made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Leggett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in executive session. Thank you. I'm going to ask our county administrator to describe the motion that we'd like to set on the floor, the correct terminology.
Me?
Or county attorney,
Okay,
excuse me.
sure.
Don't ask me.
Need to approve a settlement that'll be embodied in a memorandum of agreement between the college and the Faculty Association, collective bargaining settlement.
Okay, great. And that motion is made by Supervisor Simpson, seconded by Supervisor Frazier. Any discussion? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Is there anything else to come before the Personnel and Higher Education Committee? Hearing none, could I have a motion to adjourn, please? Do we have anyone? Yeah. Supervisor Leggett, seconded by Supervisor Frazier.
We don't want to adjourn.
They don't want to adjourn. They want to stay.
You guys all want to stay? I'm sure Supervisor Sokol will enjoy
Having
that.
too much fun.
We're adjourned. Thank you. Have a good night.